Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of XR Talk Show. Today is September 2nd, Monday, San Francisco time, 1 o'clock p.m. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on a second. That is my Surface book. It is on, and it's actually repeating what I said. So there is the world record of people who can speak the fastest. For example, let's read out. Let's see. I don't do well on that. One of the oldest known religious texts is Cash Temple Hymn by Ancient Sumer, a set of inscribed clay tablets which scholars typically date around 2600 BC. So if you go to YouTube, you can search for the world's fastest speaker. That is amazing. That's some kind of you know weird things. So many things in the world you don't know. Well, and I don't know. So today, we were talking about FFC. FFC is foreign function interface. I don't like that because that is low level stuff. The only thing I know, like when you code in industry, every language like Perl, Ruby, Python, PHP, almost every language. I work in the web industry, right? At least in a company before. Every time there's a that is a problem. Like if you learn Python, you can code things in Python, but when you need to connect to database, usually you cannot because so you need this module that talks to database, and that is typically almost always written in C or C++. So that is, as far as I know, foreign function interface. That's essentially almost the only uh, use for me of that foreign function interface thing. So I don't, that's not my thing. I don't like it at all. But that is very typical. That is typical of the industrial coding. That's essential. It's almost like necessary thing. It's like Linux drivers. You have to write drivers for Linux to connect to your mouse and keyboard and stuff. So let me read the comments and let's see what is the topic today. Okay, so guys, comment. We got a lot of people. That's fantastic. And let's begin. So Bartholomew says it's like using an extremely optimized C library in your project. Yes, indeed, that's what it is. But you see, the thing is, if your language is good, you don't need it. I mean, ideally, you have a programming language, right? Each person says, "Oh, my language is the best." Haskell people say, "My language is the best." Python say, "We are computer science." So well, then you need to connect to database. That's real world. Then the Haskell say, we need to use C or C++. That's so you see that's like a paradox. That's no good. So what is good? Golang. Golang. I read recently last month, or something like that. Rob Pike, was it Rob Pike or some other Golang guy? Okay, he said so. I think it is Rob Pike. Oh yeah, he's giving a talk on YouTube. I don't remember the title, but anyway, Rob Pike on Golang. The title is something like 10, 10, like those are kind of things these Unix people like. It says something like 10 principles of Golang. Okay, so, it's like a motto, a jargon, that kind of thing. 10 commandments of Golang, something like that. Okay, So Rob Pike is talking about that on YouTube. You can find it. It's pretty recent, I think, in the last couple of years or something. And he says so. Golang has foreign function interface. So if you need to talk to C or C, I think C you can. But he says he never use it because why? Why? Because first of all, Golang is designed. Golang is a low-level language, designed to compete. Or it was originally designed to replace C++. So why do you need to write something in C++? You actually don't really need to, unless you have legacy code that's in C++. Then you need to talk to C++. So that's kind of my point of view. So if your language is good, you are not supposed to need a foreign function interface. What that what you see what I mean? So let's see. So Julia Bartholomew is enamored with Julia, but Bartholomew has not learned it yet. I guess Julia has foreign function interfaces for C, Fortran, C++, Python, from the Julia website. Yeah, Julia. So if your language is fast, as Julia claims to be, why do you need those? Well, I mean, there are practical reasons because you don't invent the language and everything is new. You have lots of legacy code libraries. You cannot rewrite them because they are 1 million lines. You just need to talk to them, things like that. But yeah, but it's not ideal thing. It's if you are if you, for example, my followers and me, mostly we are, a lot of us are interested in elegance, things like that. The best language, one generic language for all. And so in that regard, ideally, you don't need, you don't want, not necessarily need, but you don't want this, foreign function interface. So are there reasons that you don't agree that I mean, the question is why do you need foreign function interface? So say it, okay, because that's something I don't know. I don't. That's an area I never looked into because I'm not really interested in those. I'm interested in symbolic computing, proof systems, formal languages. Proper coding, stuff like that. Uh, and yeah, so Bartholomew says not yet, still doing my own thing, but maybe end of this year or beginning of the next year, I will jump to Julia. That would be great. And if you learn Julia, you can teach me. Okay. I always wanted to learn. Like one's life is very limited. There are literally like million things you can never learn. But as technology progresses, and there are exponentially more stuff. For example, one good example everyone knows is today's front end, web front end. Every year there's new frameworks, new entire new frameworks or new protocols you have to learn every year, and they changes. Like today, you learn this. For example, React JS, fantastic. Everyone is saying, "Oh, React JS, change is the future." Then after 2 years, oh, React JS is deprecated. There is something new. That's what's happening in front end. So exponential growth. I mean that this is real. I mean this is we have entered the AI age. Everything, not just programming but sciences, material science, chemistry, physics. They are growing exponentially. Engineering and all the and technology. After science, technology, come with it. Then so we are this. I think it's really tremendous. There's many great opportunities unforeseen that you don't know it, like you don't know what will happen in 5 years. In 5 years, the new generation, they'll have some new AI. It will happen. I pretty, unless humanity collapse, otherwise it's gonna happen. There'll be some things you'll never know. engineering and technology. So what was my point? So yeah, so I was saying, so exponential growth in sciences and technology, and but there is something that, so humans we made a meat are not catching up, because we cannot, because there are a million things going on in parallel, and they are growing exponentially in a sense, in many ways. But humans, you only live, let's say, 100 years, 80 years today, and you don't, after you pass 50, your brain's gone. My brain's like, it's not like when you were younger. Okay, so that's so it's very limited. You become very limited. So what do you need? Well, according to Elon Musk, his solution, his idea is that we are going to invent. Hold on a second. Let me copy the paste here on thing. Okay, so let me read the comments so I can catch up. Um, so Elon Musk. Let me go back. Let me talk about Elon Musk. Let me save these text. Okay, um, so today's talk. So Elon Musk, his solution to AI is that we are going to also progress on the computer and machine interface. So in other words, we could have some chips in our brain, and so that the AI becomes so phantasmagorical, and but we have chips in our brain that helps us, so we can see like superhumans. We can have infrared vision. We can have echo, echo motion, the sonic systems, whatever. We can enhance ourselves with. In a sense, we became Borg. Yeah, Borg. So that's what Elon Musk want to do. That's his solution, his answer to whether AI is going to be a threat to humanity. So we put chips on our brain. But that's far in the future. We don't know. That's science fiction so far. So right now we have the problem where each of us only can learn slowly. We actually learn things so slow. Like you learn a new language. Yeah. If you are a hot shot, if you are a young guy, you think you know everything. Then you say, typically programmers will say, "Oh, yeah, you just learn Ruby on Rails. It takes a week." Programmers like to say that, all over the place. Or just learn, yeah. Let me tell you, pick up Emac list. You learn 2 days. Read my tutorial and you'll know Emac list. But actually, that's not that easy. Practically speaking, with respect to reality, that's not the case. It takes 1 month, okay, to actually learn a new language, to get a basic idea, how it works, how you can actually code. You learn, 1 month to begin with. It takes actually, half a year at least, half a year to actually be comfortable and doing big projects. Uh, half a year to a year actually. Yes, that is true. You then then some hackers would like to say that it takes 10 years to learn a language. That's kind of silly, but really, but it does take half a year to a year to be comfortable in a language, to build projects. So and they are like one new language every half a year now, and like I talked about this many times. There's so many languages, functional or otherwise. They are not just niche. I mean, many of these has million followers, million uses, by different companies. So one problem today we have is that the exponential growth of everything technology, but we humans are limited. We cannot learn fast. You know, in Japanese comics, there's a very popular Doremi. Okay, Doremi, Doremi mom. Let me show you. Doremi mom. Do you guys know it? If you know, type it. Okay, but this is a ubiquitous comics. Um, Let me search it. images. No, that's not it. Uh, this comics is as popular as Disney, Mickey Mouse in the West, but in Japan, this is like in everyone knows. Okay, so that is not it. But let me try to find it. Let me type Chinese then, because I know the Chinese name. Okay, that is the one. This one. This cat. Okay, this cat is very popular. Dora A梦. Yeah. Let me type. Let me. This is the name used in China. In Taiwan, we have a different name. Uh, and let me show you what's the English name. Doraemon. Yes, thank you, Dan. Hey, Dan. I know you on Twitter. Uh, So Doraemon, so that's the thing. You can look up Wikipedia. They give you details about the character, what's the story, and so on. So in Doraemon, let me tell let me tell you. Okay. Anyway, so the story is that this is a cat. He came from outer universe. Oh God. He came from outer universe. Okay, it's a comedy kind of cartoon. Okay, so the background, this comedy, this anime, Magna, is kind of like Simpsons. They portray everyday life. It's like Simpsons. Okay, but anyway, this family, they got this cat. This cat is actually an alien from other universe, and this cat has this magic pocket. This pocket. So the story is that this family, you got a teenager. Basically it's a teen. The main character is a teenager in a family, and his story is with his schoolmates, his neighbors, bullies, and bullies want. So anyway, he got this cat as his friend, and you know and the cat has this magic pocket, and this and often, now and then, the cat will take out something magical, to help the protagonist, to fight the bullies, or cheat in exams, to help the protagonist. It's very funny. Okay, so one day he took out bread, like toaster slice of bread, where you take the bread in any book, like calculus or trigonometry, any book, you just put the bread on the book, and it'll make a copy on the bread. Then you just eat it. Then you will memorize that thing. so, so this is a technique that 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 speeds up human learning. 记忆面包. Oh, Kathy, you know that. Kathy, thanks for the PayPal. Thank you. Yeah. So, so Kathy, did you grow up in China? Where are you from? City. So anyway, so I remember that episode when I read it when I was like 10 years old, something like that, in Taiwan. That's in 1980, early 1980 or 1981, something like that, around there, in Taiwan. So you got this bread, you eat it, and you memorize all the things on the bread. So this is one way to speed up learning. So okay, back to the topic, the learning problem. We have, technology grows, and we humans have this learning problem. We cannot keep up. So besides, a chip in our brain or this magical bread, what we gonna do? uh, Not much. There are some technology does help us learning. Like today, for example, YouTube, or my channel, for example, there are, millions of videos. You can learn artificial intelligence. You can learn neural networks. I have some for example, there is this channel that's great. um, there are a lot of channels that's great, that teaches you physics, or sciences, or chemistry, and things like that. But anyway, so that kind of helped. because you don't have to like go to a library or a professor, but you can just sit at home and read it. But that's still slow. And back to the topic, one thing I wanted to say is that I always wanted to uh, uh, have someone, some of you guys, or or any people that who are expert in something, then he can teach me something, like interact, like on video, like we can talk via video. That's the technology that's helping us, on iPhone or whatever. So for example, I know Emacs well, Emacs Lisp. So that thing I know well. I know JavaScript well. I can teach you. So if you don't know, I can, because in 1 hour I can teach you whatever you learn in 1 month. That's almost literally true. You spend 1 hour a day in 1 month. That's 30 hours. But if you talk to someone who is expert on that subject, one to one, you literally learn, whatever he says in 1 hour. You know, is better than you learn it yourself for 30 hours. Because why? Because for someone who knows the subject, he can guide you, direction, like having a parent. Your parents guide you some top level direction that eliminates huge amount of inefficiency, because otherwise you are exploring and probing. You went this way, oh, that's a dead end, oh, that doesn't work, things like that. So you need, if you have an expert that teach you something one-on-one on video, that's tremendous help. Like teacher, usually you go to college, that's professor, he doesn't care about you, and he's got 100 students, but professor is still very good. But if you have one-on-one with a, so for example, I want to learn proof systems, homotopy type theory, all these subjects. There are people, of course, there are, let's say, at least 10,000 people, mathematicians, who are experts on those subjects. Wouldn't it be great, if I can have them just teach me one hour a day, then I truly just I'll just pick up, the thing, like eating a piece of cake. I'll just learn it in 1 month. I'll have like almost 1 year's learning experience of that subject, when you have someone teach you that. And for another example, I don't know game programming. I always wanted to get into game programming, like, but I have no idea how. Like, there's so many things to learn about game programming. First of all, there's a practical aspect. For example, I want to start to write a game. How do I begin? I just want to start to do that. How do I begin? I need someone to teach me. Or, or more theoretical aspect. For example, what does game programming, like, what 3D engines, okay, how they work. I mean, what are the technical details, like what levels, the pipeline, how exactly they work. And then it comes down to the graphics, GPU, how they connect, what languages, what exactly, so there are tremendous things to learn in game programming. For example, in game programming, I know there are game engines. Okay, there are several game engines. Some are open source, like 20 years old game engine. They released it as open source, help humanity, because they have no commercial value anymore. And yeah, but how do I begin? I mean, game engine, as far as I know, is extremely, yeah, 3D game engine is a extremely complicated endeavor. It's it's kind of, you can say it represents the technology of humanity. A piece of game engine. And also today you have physics engine. Sometimes you can see on YouTube they have physics engine, either 2D or 3D. For example, in Second Life, you have this what's called Harvard physics engine, where you see 3D stuff. You can drop something, a box or a stone, or a pen. For example, you drop a pen and it'll just fall down and bounce around, just, simulate reality. That's physics engine. And so you got all these things. But I don't know nothing about them. Like, how do I begin to write to for example, for example, to write a game to use that. So does it involve, for example, that FFI? Is that like that at all? Because game programming is a entire different area than say web programming. I have some experience in Second Life, which is kind of very silly. But anyway, it's entirely different. Like in web programming, you deal with uh, TCP/IP. You deal with HTTP protocol. Then you deal with JavaScript, DOM, DOM, all these things. You deal with database or NoSQL database. That I know. Yeah, that I've been doing that. Since long ago. That I know. But game engine is not like that. It's not like that at all. Well, you still have databases and stuff, but the for example, physics engine, in web programming, you don't deal with physics engine, like what the fuck, or 3D rendering engine. So in game engine, how do you do that? How First of all, how do you start to write a game talking to those engines, or how are those game engines written? Like that is really complex. How are those physics engine written? um, you know so so many things to learn. So back to the topic, I was thinking, it would be great if I can have someone. You guys know something I don't know, I'm sure. um, so you can teach me and I can teach you. But so far I've kind of tried over the years with the hacker type of people like you guys. Okay, like my friends on the web. I usually, they don't get the idea, like these hacker types. They don't, like every time like my friends, I mean, they are my friends, I talk to them, they say, oh, I'll just, on Twitter, I'll teach you, for example, there's a Russian guy who knows math. Okay, he knows topology. Now I don't know topology. Okay, so I like to learn. I would like to have someone to teach me. That would be fantastic. So I say, let's get on YouTube, or face to face. They don't want to. Typically, all these nerds, fucking nerds, idiots. Their idea is like, oh, I'll just write you an email and you do this exercise. They're fucking idiots. If I want to learn topology, I can go read Wikipedia, far more efficient than whatever you tell me textually, like idiots. Okay, same thing happens with programmers. My friends. Like every time I bring this up, they don't get, for some reason, they don't think that way. They don't get the idea. Like they are just going to insist, like, oh no, I don't want first of all, they don't want to go on video, they don't want to anything. They want anonymous. That's a big thing among the hacker types. They don't want that. Although that's kind of changing, because YouTube, now everyone is on YouTube. Even all those hacker types, they now start to go on YouTube. But anyway, so they don't get the idea. They don't like, then, because then sometimes I convince, come on, do it, because I explain what I just explained. It's really efficient. We have to do that, in order to do, for this to learning to happen. They don't get it. They just insist. Oh, like they live in this textual world. They think, oh, Ogma, they're just gonna, or Reddit, they're just gonna type something and they think they conveyed everything. So that's that. So that's about that topic. So let me write that down. Today's topic. So exponential, exponential growth. Okay, and let's move this somewhere here. Let's move this. Exponential growth. Human learning can catch up. Whoops. Idea of one-to-one video learning exchange. Okay, and also we talked about firing function interface. Okay, so if you have questions to me, post it now with my name, Orange. I'm gonna first of all go over the questions to me. Uh, Good morning, Iris Scotia. Iris Scotia, where you from? What country? And Cool for School says, do you provide advance notice in case of time change? No, that's a problem with me. So right now I don't have a schedule, but right now for typically it's last week it's around noon, and this week it's around 1 o'clock p.m. And because my sleeping schedule cycles all over the place, so what is the schedule for, let's say, this week? Maybe 1 p.m. Maybe let's just continue. But because after a few days it'll probably be 2 p.m. or something. I don't know actually. Every time this is a hard problem for me. But actually I've been thinking the best time. When you post on Twitter or social networks, and there's a question like, what is the time that is the best globally? For example, if you just consider locally, for example, I'm in San Francisco area, Bay Area, in California, USA. So the local time is usually, maybe uh, in USA, maybe noon or afternoon. That's the best time because Americans habit they use the internet most often noon. Yeah, that is true because I've looked statistically. American. But if you are in New York, for example, the best, New York is 3 hours faster. So the best time is still noon, but around New York. But however, in China, their habit of using internet is that the most busy time when they go on to internet to is at night. Is basically something like 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. That's a China habit. Now in Europe, that's all different. Okay, I've looked into. So all these different habits, but still you have a global time, right? GMT. So what is a time period where most people are, you pick a time period that most people are on the internet. They want to watch your video and stuff, and that turns out. Okay, here's a summary. Now this is a theory, okay? Not theory, but this is the answer I looked for several years. Kind of casually, I looked it for several years. The answer is a simple way to put it is follow the time of the New Yorkers. Follow New York time. So New York time from 8 o'clock to 12 o'clock. That period is the most busy. New York time, 8 o'clock in the morning to noon. Okay, especially 8 o'clock. 8, then 9 is less, 10 is less. Okay, that period of time. That period of time maximizes the global audience. So, for example, New York time, 8 o'clock in the morning is California time, 6 o'clock in the morning, which you don't have that many people because 6 o'clock people are still sleeping. But anyway, we are talking about globally. So, better would be maybe 10 o'clock New York time in the morning. But anyway, but if you go by 10 o'clock New York time, then most people it's too late in China. China's got a lot of people. So the best time is actually 8 o'clock a.m. Yeah. So actually, I have a graph of that. Let me show you that. Okay, so let's go to JavaScript. Let's see. Internet. Okay, internet usage. So I have this website, this page. Copy the path. Go to the browser. New tab. Paste. Enter. So there it is. Global internet usage hour pattern. Now this is you can see now the light lights up. Red is busy. Blue is no busy. Okay. Now as time goes by, you can see how they change. So by studying this image, you can you can learn when is it busiest. For example, you see now the China right now, China is all red. The USA is kind of sleeping. The China is all red. So what time is that in China right now? So you can see this sunlight. So this is when basically like 6 p.m. Evening when sun is setting. You can see so and so you can see China becomes busiest when sun is setting. But now if you look at USA, so right now this is midnight, okay, midnight something like that. Oh wait, that's wait. So here is midnight. Then you can see a sun start to rise. The USA becomes red. The USA becomes the most red when it's noon. Then it dies off. You see. So that's the traffic usage pattern, global internet usage pattern. Now this graph is actually from some kind of hacker. They probe. They have the botnet. Yeah, they have botnet that probe all internet devices. It gives you some idea anyway. So that's how. And this is old. This is like 2014. Uh, so I don't have schedule now. So one way to look at my schedule is just always to go to my Xali YouTube Xali. Usually I try to schedule the next day. So you go to my channel, you will see upcoming stream, or then you click the community. I try to post my schedule there. This one is from last week, so maybe check out there. So Cool for School says, okay, if Xali changes time to 6 a.m. Pacific. Hold on a second. Huh? So that's my roommate. He cooked lunch for me. So this Cool for School says, change if XR changed the time to 6 a.m. Pacific, it'll be 2 a.m. your time, which means you might be at work, miss the live session. Iris Garcia. Oh, Iris Garcia is from Spain. Okay. So let's see. So New York time, 6 o'clock. What time is Spain? New York time, 6 a.m. That would be 3 o'clock p.m., right? So in Spain, so Iris Garcia. So in Spain, when do people use internet? Answer that, please. So let's see. If we according to this, let's see. Spain is around here. Yeah, three. So yeah, in the afternoon. Oh, busy, busy, busy. So 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock p.m. Very busy. Yeah. So you see. So New York time always go by New York time. New yeah, New York time 8 o'clock a.m. is Spain. New York time 8 o'clock a.m. is like 3 o'clock p.m. Spain, something like that, and that's also when Spain is the most busy. Am I correct? So okay, let me catch up on the comments. All the comments addressed to me. So sorry. So I have been thinking of switching my time to those hours, but that's just a thought because my sleeping schedule changes all the time. So Seamus says, learning a programming language is all about practice. You need to give the student a lot of opportunity to practice. Yes. Uh, So Sima says, so you don't want to be giving lessons. You want to have specific questions asked. No, I do. I know. Well, I do want. I do some lessons sometimes. Um, yeah, I do some. I do lessons. Like sometimes I focus on teaching Emac. At least I did that a few times in the past. Sometimes I focus on teaching JavaScript. Or yeah, the whole hour dedicated to, or sometimes leave coding in JavaScript or other languages. But again, like I mentioned, there's this thing with YouTube, because when you talk about random things, especially non-technical, then it becomes more popular. Then people, it's fun. People get interested. But if I teach, for example, Emac list, you don't. Well, it depends. Sometimes you get out people, but sometimes not. Uh, but anyway, that I also do that. So the issue I have is that I do not have a plan and I don't have schedule. So oftentimes the problem is actually picking a topic. So the most easy way for me to do YouTube video is just like right now. I just wake up, go to YouTube. I have a bunch of things. People can pick whatever I want to talk about. Those are easy to talk about. Those are easy. Like this internet thing, I can just talk. You know, pick up website, go to Wikipedia, and talk about my experiences. That's easy going. No work for me. But usually, if you focus on a technical topic, JavaScript technical details or Emac list, that usually is more pressure, and meanwhile, less people watching, because then you have to do it correctly. If you have to, and also you have to follow orders, from easy to difficult. Then yeah, usually those are more work. But I tend to go, I tend just to go informal. Usually I do better that way, informal. So that's why I'm asking you guys every time, to give me a topic. If you have a question, like if you have a question about Emac Lisp, even if it is technical, very technical, I can answer it because I see the question very specific. I know the answer. I can tell. I can start to talk about it or answer that question fully. That's why I like to have questions. Because otherwise, if I just going to start to teach Emac Lisp, first of all, what topic? Okay, I already did introduction to Emac Lisp. I already did. Another thing with YouTube is like when you do video chat, it's ephemeral. Like whatever you do, like what yesterday or past month, it's like history. Nobody watched them. Every day is a fresh day. It's like Twitter. It's like all these the micro social networks or Reddit or Hacker News. You just focus on today. Whatever great information people have done, great comments from expert programmers, greatest, it's gone. Like people don't care. That's actually a problem. We have this situation because all these companies, they want busy websites. So the one way to get that is just focus. They want to make people to post every day, like new things today. What's going on? Oh, new library. Oh, new JavaScript. Oh, this that. Oh, new Google released new version of AI. Library. Fuck. So the whole entire population get into the situation. You just then clickbait comes in too. You just focus on whatever is today's thing. So, for example, Emac Lisp, I did a talk a few months ago. That's complete, fairly good. Reasonably, coverage of teaching you Emac Lisp and other things. Math, and I'm not great teacher of math. I need more experience. But anyway, so you see, the problem with YouTube is that once people don't look at old things, especially that's actually that's a problem. That's actually a big social problem. So all this Rather, what you want instead is something like Wikipedia, the format, for example, Wikipedia, where you focus on subject and whatever you wrote in the past, you accumulate into a coherent, permanent, subject matter. That is good. That is also why Wikipedia is so successful, because you categorize things into topic. Now, this is, by the way, this is very, very different from blogging. I mean, even if you are the greatest blogger, that doesn't work, because when you blog, you write, today's your how you feel, what you come into. That doesn't work. So I also write blogs, but I do try. For example, my Emacs, my entire Emacs Lisp tutorial. In the beginning, it's all blogs. Like today, I learned the new way to find out what's a character Unicode. Something I posted. And that's no good, because I have, for example, if you go to my Emacs blog, uh, there are archives. For example, Emacs blog archive, they go back to 2009, and that's not the beginning, because before 2009, it was on my xali.org. There's, because in 2009 I separated Emacs stuff into a dedicated blog just for Emacs. I did that because I was trying to, the popularity is begging, the Google ads, they say, hey, you want to make money, those fuck. So I did that. It's actually, I would say, it's not something I want to do. So anyway, back in 2009, I separated Emacs into its blog. Then later on, or at that time, I also separated, you know, put different things in different blogs. So I have a web blog, programming blog. I have, English literature blog, things like that. That's not actually what I want to do. I want, my idea is that everyone, whatever you say, it's you. It's coherent. We are human animals. Humanity, human animals. You don't peddle. You don't separate things just so that those people who want Emacs, they only learn about Emacs. Then those people who wants to learn Golang or web dev, they only just learn Golang. What that what that does is that it's good for you. You make more money, you grow, you make more money because you focus on teaching them things, and they also like it because they just want to learn your Emacs stuff. They don't care about whatever philosophy or whatever. So, and that's good for Google. Google, YouTube, Google make money and so on. But that's not good for the whole humanity as a whole, because what happens with this been happening, what happens is that everyone becomes, narrow, specialized, liking what just, exactly what you like. You don't know how to cook, you don't know anything else. You becomes this dummy, you becomes a peg in the social machinery. That's what happens every day. Including, today's average people, or including all the educated college degree and programmers, including all programmers. You watch TV, TV died. Instead, now you have social networks, you have iPhone, you become addicted. In many ways, I think it's actually worse. Before, it's TV controls your thought. You sit down and you just watch TV, it controls your thought. Now, internet, social network, but now iPhone, phone, whatever phone, same thing. It's actually, I think it may be worse than TV. The effect is worse. Then you got people, for example, this blog, social net, so-called micro blogs, the Twitter, Facebook. You just focus on today. Once everything you said after 1 hour, it's history. Nobody ever read it. It's that way because all these companies make money, more money that way. They made it that way. They don't, they never say, oh, we prefer this way because we make money. They don't say it. Rather, they just create ways to make more money, and therefore it becomes this way. And meanwhile, what they say is, "Oh, we are here to help humanity. We we are, pushing, help humanity, help the poor, help women, help society, help poverty." Fuck, they are scumbags. Facebook, Twitter, Google. And also, yeah, back to what I was saying. Every programmer, including all the open source fanatics, they are actually becomes, their thought is kind of like in that direction of flow. Although they may not agree here and there, oh, they hate Twitter, they hate Facebook, but in general, their worldview is kind of like following those directions because that's what they see every day. You go to Reddit, you go to Twitter, you go to Facebook, you Instagram, whatever new the Stripe, the chat, whatever the Telegram, whatever technology. That's what you see every day. That's what you touch. So your thought, kind of just go that way. You don't have new thoughts. You don't see. You don't get it. That is why. So when I'm talking, Kasa is very very strange guy. You don't want to try quietly back off from this guy, and his code is the worst in the universe. Anyway, so Iris says, "You are right about spend most busy time. Completely matches your theory. Great, great to get confirmation." So Sima says, "No from before. No from before. I was meaning when you were talking about getting tutoring from people on the internet. They offer you lessons, but it seems you want to be able to ask expert questions." Oh, I know what. Oh, I see what you mean. Oh, yeah. No, I do want lessons. Actually, I prefer lessons. For example, if you know something, I mean, okay. Also, this is hard. Okay, the question is, I want to get people so we can have one-on-one video tutorial where, for example, today I teach you Emacs Lisp. Tomorrow you teach, and while I learn you every day, tomorrow you teach me 1 hour about something. Let's say game programming, for example. And we do that every day. Alternative, let's say for 1 week or even a month. Then I can learn tremendously. I can in 1 month I'll actually know a lot of game programming. So this is what I want. This is not happening. And also, one problem with this is that besides getting programmer to agree on this, they don't get the idea. Typically, I try to put this out. They don't want to. They don't get it. They don't see this as a good thing. But the other problem is that once you post this publicly, there's an issue like, okay, so suppose I want to learn game programming. There are a lot of game programmers, okay, out there, but usually they may not be able to teach. Like, I mean, this is getting a bit touchy, because you don't want to say, I don't want to claim, you have to know. Okay, you actually have to know. You have to. I like to say, okay, you have to have, let's say, 3 years working in a company professionally doing game dev. Then I would say game programming. Then you can teach me. But not everyone is like that, because most my followers tends to be not mainstream. Okay, they are not mainstream. So and it's very diverse. Like me. Just living with your mom. Okay, so you don't know what they can actually teach you. I mean, often my followers, they have weird ideas from 4chan, from underground. They tell you, oh, you need to do this. This is a new distributed thing. That's not what I want. For example, for game programming, I want the mainstream. That's what I want. I don't want special new ideas, philosophy about game programming. That's not what I want. I want the mainstream game programming. If you worked in a company in game dev for 3 years or 2 or just 2 years, you can teach me. Okay, that's what I want. I don't want strange new philosophies, great open source ideas. That's not what I want. For example, you see. So there is also an issue of conveying this, Because if you say, oh, you have to have a minimum of 2 years of something, people get turned off. What the fuck are you? You see, that's a problem. So that's a problem. That's what I'm saying. Um, you know, yeah, and also you kind of so you see, I don't, this is not about anyone. If you worked in a company, professionally doing game dev for 2 years, then you can do, you can teach. You will know a lot info I don't know, and you will be fruitful. Let's say you teach me 1 hour a day for 1 week. That would be tremendously helpful. The other, that's game programming, for example. There are also people expert in, for example, networking stuff. I mean, I don't know that much about networking. Networking is a thing that, for example, every time let's go to XAR Emacs. I don't want to go to XAR Emacs. Close. Wait. Reopen. Close. Open that page. Internet Gossip. Go to my home directory. XAR code. Go to programming blog. Go to TCP/IP. Okay, I have a tutorial actually on that HTTP protocol. Okay, and TCP/IP for beginners. TCP/IP, you have the packets, the swarm of packets. Like every time I type something, a million swarm of packets flows. They go all directions into the internet. that's how the internet works. Every time I read it, you can learn. You can learn it, and but if you don't actually do this every day, you forgot. Like you don't really understand it. You need someone who is who is a network programming, who works on networks, internet infrastructure. They can teach. It would be great if they can. If I know such a person, then they teach me an hour a day. That would be fantastic. All these internet protocols. So that's network programming. There's game programming. Game programming is very big. There's many game engines, and there's also small things. And for example, you writing a 3D game. That's different from writing a smaller game. Two-dimensional thing. Um, and lots of other topics in math, and other programmings, or Julia, or Haskell. Oh yeah, a lot of you I know know Haskell. Uh, it will be, you guys can teach me about that. So that's my idea. So I don't know. So if you guys are interested, we could do that. Um, the other thing is, maybe if I talk to you guys, sometimes um, you don't connect. Like some people, I don't know for sure. Like I don't understand what you're saying. Sometimes that. So you have to know people, kind of. Like typically, like sometimes English is not my native language, although I've been living in US and I speak and read well, but I didn't grew up as a teen in US, or in US household. So often when for example, I go out, sometimes I meet people, my friends. Okay, I go out, chat, have a coffee. They say things I don't get. For example, I can listen to the news, CNN. I understand everything they say, but in informal context, sometimes they say things quickly. I don't get it. Like sometimes we go to a restaurant, they say, "Oh, just do that." This I say, "What? What do you mean? What? Can you repeat that?" That's kind of awkward because yeah. Sometimes I get that because then they have to slow down. Oh, I mean, just get the hamburger. And then I say, oh, then if that happens a few times, it becomes awkward because they after they know me, they know that they have to, when they say informal things, they have to kind of slow down. Um, you know, like especially this happens like when you have a group of people who are all Native Americans, for example, white people. Then they talk to each other. They have jokes. They find it funny. I'm like I don't get it. I don't understand. Uh, so Bartholomew says, I fully agree with your view on online magazines, beginner tutorials, and clickbaits. Okay, Seema says, Seamus, where are you from? I forgot. Seamus. Seamus says the news is evil and it creates a socially acceptable history for people. It's history on the news, not new things to know. It's history on the news, not new things to know. Okay. Bartholomew says also fully agree on the idea of human being a certain type of holistic in its own right. Seema says the big media corps are the aliens here to steal all of Earth's water. Justin Scarfy, good morning, says, can we do math with Emacs? Homotopy type theory. Okay, I don't know nothing about that actually, so that's something I really want to learn. Hopefully in the next 5 years, because after 5 years, I'll be 56. Your brain is going away, homotopy type theory. So I cannot teach that. What about math with Emacs? Actually, there's not much math with Emacs. If you do Emacs, it's just Emacs. If you do math, they are actually, you will be hard pressed to kind of trying to connect them together. Well, in Emacs you have calc mod, calculator mod. Okay, but that's I mentioned that before. That's actually it's like obsolete and deprecated. It's out of the question. It's like some people, if you are an Emacs fan, you will probably wonder why do you say that, find it strange, but that's true. I talked about this like a few days ago. Emacs calc mod, I would recommend never use it. It's like it's obsolete for 10 years. Bartholomew says, so Justin, yeah, so there's nothing Emacs to do with math. Actually, I would say, if you want to learn math, go into Julia. Actually, if you want to learn math, I mean, I did several videos on math. Okay, you can just search my website, go to my YouTube. If you want to get into math, you one thing you can say is forget about programming. Okay, I mean that's another typical thing programmers like to think. That's what you like to think. Oh, I like to learn math, but I would prefer it to have something with related to programming, so that I can. Meanwhile, I can, because I like programming, I already know a lot, so I can, do programming and learn math. Well, it's kind of true and false, but if let's pop the balloon. Let me pop the balloon. Okay, let me pop the bubble. If you really want to get into math, stop thinking about programming. Okay, like just learn math, programming in general, they are like two different things. Although in some aspect, you can say, oh, proof systems, they are related. When you have well, they are related after you spend 4 years every day studying math. Yes, they are related, but otherwise, you don't get into the fantasy that you will learn. Oh, if I just learn Haskell, I will learn a lot of math too. No, Haskell has nothing to do with math. They also have nothing, a little, you could say nothing with theoretical computer science. Because when you go into theoretical computer science, you don't code. Okay, you don't code. Once you start to write programs, Haskell, that's not theoretical computer science. So if you really want to understand theoretical computer science, automata stuff, that's you go into that. As for example, knuth. The knuth, Donald Knuth, the guy you guys like. He's he's an idol among hacker type of people. Knuth said, what did he say? one of those maxims, the Python quote, those hacker types like to quote all the time. Fuck, idiots. So he made a quote, something like, "Oh, I just proved it, but I didn't write any code." Something like that. Yeah, you have to put it in a way that tickles people's ideas. Anyone remember that quote, knuth? Something like, something like, I only proved it, but I didn't, it's like there's no code, something like that, to that effect. Anyone? Let's see, check if I'm still alive. I'm still alive and been talking for over an hour. Knuth, quote, I only prove, something like that, I only proved it. Wiki quote, okay. Top 25 quotes by Knuth. You see, this kind of website, those are the money-making website. Those are scam. They are typically created, by programmers. By the way, oh yeah, by programmers. This, by day they are open source fanatics. We are helping humanity. By night, they are creating. They tell nobody. They create these quotes, 25 top quotes, because those are things that makes money. People go, and then you have this brainy quote, then you have this quote.net. They are all by programmers. Who else? Programmers create websites. These fuckheads. Yeah, by day they are helping humanity, open source, free software foundation. By night they are the scammers, malwares, whatever you have it. Then you have this quote inspirational.com. You have this quotefancy.com. You go there, there's 1 million ads, Google ads. So knuth, so these are things programmers like to quote, like, beware of bugs in the above code. I have only proved it correct. I have not tried it. This one, okay. Beware of the bugs in the above code. I have only proved it correct. Had not tried it. Exactly. If you want to learn theoretical computer science, all those things, Turing machines, you're not. Okay, forget about coding. You are not coding. You rather want to focus on those. Okay. Okay. Anything else? Okay, I got no comments. So that means my talking is no good. Something like that. Comments? Okay, so maybe that's it for today. Let's see what comments I have before. So magnify the comments, maximize, and I want to magnimize a lot more. So let's see. So please, I know, no you. That's that's one of the memes from 4chan since 10 years ago. No you. That actually captures the humanity, captures the human animals, this generation, the millennial generation. No you. That captures the online interaction, because you see, when we are online we argue all the time, on Twitter, on Facebook, when we argue on Reddit, and also in gamers, gaming. No you. That captures the essence of what we want to say. Yeah, this generation, essentially, because today's society, where everything is independent, you don't really care about all the people online, because today, if tomorrow I'm gone, doesn't matter to you, actually. Practically speaking, doesn't really matter to you. There are 10,000 YouTubers out there, and same way, if you guys disappeared, my followers, you guys, I know, some of you, I know you somewhat. It doesn't matter to me, because that's reality. Because I just noticed. Oh, maybe after 2 months, I noticed. Oh, Bartholomew, you haven't been on my show for a while. But It doesn't do anything to me. That's modern society. That's not my fault. That's not your fault. That's just what happens. So online, you argue with people. You don't really care. You don't care about nothing. So when you argue, doesn't matter. It's politics, or programming languages. Ultimately, what you really want to say is no, you. It's like that captures the essence. Whatever you said, no, that's not true. Whatever, no, you are the problem. No, shooting in the back, like no, you. That's where we are. That's what we are today. All these Reddit induced. Yeah, I would. So who to blame? I would blame Google, Twitter, Facebook, these companies, and it's not like they plan to be this evil. Rather, it's the commercialization drove them to become that way, because that way they make the most money, and this is the situation they created. And so they are to blame. I also blame the programmers and the people, and mostly programmers, because we created them. We created all this, including Stack Overflow. Fuck, Stack Overflow. We are helping humanity. They are the first company that created the so-called. It's the proper term for this is called gaming system, gamification. Like the like buttons, the badge. When you are on Stack Overflow, you answered 1,000 questions, you get a badge. Brown. You are a brown medalist because you helped the humanity. Yeah, you helped the humanity to the programmers to grow something. Then you got the bronze medal, the silver medal, things like that. Stack Overflow, fucking scum. Meanwhile, they are peddling. They are peddling to the open source group, the free software. Oh, well, part of it. Okay, they are saying, oh yeah, we are helping humanity. All our stuff is open source and stuff like that. But anyway, they are the first that creates the gamification, okay, system, meaning that you create a website with all the points score that psychologically make you want to come back, addictive in a sense, psychologically make you want to come back, because once you learned points, okay, then you can start to brag. Maybe some people, I know some of my friends are like, have done that, and you want so you become, for example, Python. You answered 10 million questions, you become a top Python expert. Then you can say in your resume, look, Stack Overflow, I'm the top 10 Python answers. That so that you put on your resume. That's part of the way Stack Overflow grows, gamification. Because without that, it becomes that's very significant. Because with that, they grow tremendously. Without that, then not really, because so you use psychology to propel, to benefit yourself. That's what it is, a gamification, Stack Overflow. Then everyone else picked it up, good intentions. Now Paul Graham, so he has a vision. He sees the future. There's tremendous exponential growth. So there's a tremendous potential, which is true. Technology can help humanity. We need startups. And he's helping these nerds, you guys, okay, all these nerds, trying to educate you on how to actually run a company, social issues, which you don't know nothing about. So Paul Graham, but Stack Overflow, startups. But what happens actually, over the years is that Stack Overflow, I mean the Y Combinator, basically it's about making money. Okay, making money. Yeah, because if you don't make money, your startup dies. You don't have a company, you die. Goodbye. You don't change society, nothing. No money, no nothing. Okay, money. So you want to go open source, that doesn't work. Okay, nobody can succeed, except maybe Ubuntu. That's the Ubuntu, Red Hat, the two companies, or three. That's basically it. and they become evil also because they still make no money. They cannot survive. Then they try to do all devious things. Ubuntu, for example. They try to have clouds, but nobody buys it. Then okay, after a year they announce, oh, we're gonna close cloud. Then Ubuntu. That's you guys, Linux fans. That you made it happen. Anyway, so open source, no money, no, not you cannot grow, and donation based doesn't work unless you go hardware. Like I am going to create a new keyboard that you go to the Kickstarters and other website. You do that hardware. Maybe you have some benefit. So anyway, so the Y Combinator or the startups, so what they want is money. But open source, okay, they all the people know. Once you join the startup, once you actually, instead of sitting at your home and armchair philosopher, oh, we want open source, this necessary because this and that. But once your life, your livelihood, your family, your children depends on money that came from open source, then everything becomes reality. Then you know what is true, what is not true, because once you start you start a company, then you know what is good, what is bad. Open source out of the door right away. Then what do you do? Clouds. Let's do clouds because cloud is a service. The open source philosophy does not go against that. So let's go to cloud. Slack, Telegram, cloud. That's why everything is cloud. The open source and free software foundation. Fuck. Okay, maybe that's it today. So today I end up ranting against open source again. Then So I was saying, the Y Combinators, so all these startups, you can look them up. You can try to start your own company. Try to spread the great ideal of open source and freeware. Start a company. Try to do it. There, you will know. Then you will see what is true, what is not true. Uh, So Sima says, what makes a computer language symbolic? I did one whole 1 hour talk on that last week, 2 weeks ago. Not by now, it's 2 weeks ago, I guess. So you go to and that's one of my better videos, I would say. Okay, you go to my videos. There is one 90 minutes talk on what the symbolic programming language means. So I don't know if you are there. Simus Slack. So what makes a computer language symbolic? Okay, that question. Yeah. So that question, I have 90 minutes talk on that. This one. Uh, uh, this one. Okay. This one. Star Talk Show 2019, July 18th. Lisp, Mathematica, term rewriting system, and what does symbolic programming mean? So watch that. So Sima says, if we go away, online relationships are very transient. What do you mean, online relationships? So anyway, that's it for today. Calcmod pronunciation. Calcmod pronunciation. Calculus, calculator, calc. I guess calc. It's a more uh, proper way of English pronunciation. Bartholomew says you need to practice your English more targeted at success and more efficiently. This way, it will improve your quality of life. I'm not sure about improving my quality of my life, but on my YouTube, maybe a little bit, just a little bit. That's an interesting topic about English pronunciation, and yeah, because wordy. Let's go to wordy English, WORDY English, because I have 1,000 essays on that. Not 1,000 exactly. I have like 10 uh, essays about that. Let's see. English accents, very interesting topics, somewhat interesting. So I looked at several, Southern American accent, New Orleans um, accent, French English. Okay, French has their accent, and also Chinese and British accents. You have several British accents, Canadian, Scottish, Irish, and Chinese accents. So does my English has a lot Chinese accents? I cannot tell, but I kind of have some idea. But I guess, but you guys can judge properly. Maybe yeah. So you can tell what how at what level how much is my English good or bad? Probably pretty bad. Uh, because processing of this natural language will take less time and computation power. What do you mean? What are you talking about, Bartholomew? So about improving, I'm too old, pretty much. I'm 51. What is uh what? Let's see. I forgot how do I normally say it. What? Okay, what? Okay, so I can actually try to be Chinese accent because I know because I can think about how Chinese the syllables what sounds are available in Chinese and I can speak it that way. Well, I cannot really what is like so the typical Chinese the stereotypical Chinese pronunciation would be what 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 yeah something like that. So I guess I have I try to get away because I try to I really tried when I was younger to have a like English speaking English in a way that is indistinguishable from a English native English speaker. I really tried that because it really annoys me to great degree that when people do not when the simple idea of where I have Chinese accent that annoys me. That actually is a big problem for me. I had that problem, so I really try to speak English. In a later on, I learned what do you call that is a which is an American accent from somewhere in a somewhere in Illinois. Okay, they have a name for that. Radio English or something. Does anyone know? Remember, like around Illinois region. So that's kind of a standard American. I mean, broadcasting kind of thing. You want that? So I tried to anyway. Later on I learned. So actually, so you have New York accent. You have California. Then you have the California girls. California girls, the valley talk stuff, and then you have Southern, American Southern. That's very distinguishable, and also you have black people. Their English is also quite different. Okay, they drop all the ers, r's, and sibilants. As the black English is in many ways the black English way of pronunciation is very logical because they drop all the um, kind of irrelevant consonants or decorative things like that. Anyway, but then I learned my English is pretty bad. I mean the pronunciation. I later on you don't know that because like there's a psychology theory or principle. They say that usually you think you are good at something, uh, but in reality you are pretty bad. Like when other people look at you, outsiders, they you are pretty bad, but you tend to think you are pretty good. So one of the thing I guess that happened to me is the pronunciation, the English, speaking English, because I always thought because I tried hard, I always thought I was pretty good. So that's one thing. But another thing is that I learned since I started to do video. I learned that my talking, speech or uh, articulation skills, the quality is very bad. Not just in pronunciation, but in a way I like you don't notice it yourself. But for example, I repeat, a lot of times, and usually I tend to jumble around. You don't make coherent expression. The best guy who is doing that is Peter Jordanson. Okay, that guy, he is the expert at articulation. He is capable to condense extremely complicated ideas and into a few sentences with clarity. But also, he's kind of extreme though. For example, another scholar I admire, which is Camille Paglia. If you watch Camille Paglia, YouTube, she has a entirely different style than Jordan Peterson. Okay, Camille both of them, they express ideas. They give you, they talk about some complex hot topics. They teach you some things very well. Okay, but however, Jordan Peterson, he sometimes go overboard. Jordan Peterson's style is very precise, and uh, he can condense complex ideas into sentences. But when you listen to Camille Paglia, she's talking nonstop, all over the place, like me. But however, she does communicate. She does teach you tremendous information. Like when she talks, it's like a machine gun, nonstop, very fast, and nonstop on all, and it's like a hot shot all over the place. Okay, almost incoherent. But however, there's tremendous information. He does teach you um, things. Anyway, that's about that's about accents, articulation, speech, kind of thing, interesting things. And there's also machine, machine speech. How you say that. For example, Mac has it, uh, machine voice, and anyway, that's an interesting topic. And today you actually have on the fly real time machine translation, such that, for example, if I speak in Chinese, it will translate in English in real time with my voice, my intonation. There's a video that Microsoft is trying to demonstrate that. Let's see, somewhere here. Yeah, real time. Yeah, here. So Microsoft is trying to demonstrate that, and this is back in 2012. Real-time speech translation with same voice, English to Chinese by machine. Oh yeah, English to Chinese. Yeah. So that's one of the technology. So as far as speech, accents, this kind of things goes, there's a lot AI. Very interesting topics. Anyway, linguistics and so on, and human expression, and how do you. Anyway, okay. So that's it for today. Uh, Great to see you, Kathy, again. Okay, I do have Chinese accent. Okay, yeah, I try to improve that, but I think usually, okay, typically when you are younger, like before 16, if you learn English before 16, then you'll be good. If you like if you come to USA at age 15 or before, you go to US, high schools, you grew up there, then it's good. You have good no accent, so to kind of no accent. But let's say, well, I didn't but after, let's say, 20, when you are 20, it becomes harder and harder. I guess you can still do. Some people have talent for that. Like online on YouTube, you can go to see YouTube. There are some people who are just 16 or 19, young people who can speak like 10 languages. Uh, anyway, there are a lot of videos on that kind of topic, accents, or speaking different languages. Okay, thank you guys for coming. That's it for today. I Yep. Bye. Today is a great talk. I mean, in a sense that a lot topics going on. Oh, 90 minutes. My God, 90 minutes.